In the world of art, there are various styles and influences that people have, right? Is some art is very niche to a specific crowd, while graffiti is a form of art. Not everyone sees it as art. Some people see it as vandalism or just very unartistic art, right? Very basic. Um, Van Gogh was not regarded as a world renowned artist really when he was alive, even though he was an artist. Basquiat, his art form was seen as very elementary and basic, not a lot of depth to it. Now, what does that have to do with barbering? Well, barbering is an art, and it's an art form. And I will tell you that there is a large array of art within the barbering industry. Okay. Some people will accept more basic art, a little less refined, not so detailed, not so much precision, and things of that nature, which is perfectly acceptable if that is where you are. But I will say this, if that's where you are and that's where you finished, or that's where you finish, I believe you've got some things confused. Okay? Barbering over the years has seen its ups and downs in overall artistic ability. I will say within the last probably 100 years or so, right? Um, you know, early on in World War One and World War Two, that's when you started to see the ball fades and or the GI cuts and things of that nature. That's when you really started to see those become a thing, right? That's when they came about. That's when they were a thing. That's really when you started to see those things. Okay. Now, then there was a period following that where you started to see more refined styles, such as a conk style. If you don't know what a conk is, it's a chemical relaxer. Um, I believe conk was an urban slang term for the chemical relaxers that predominantly uh, African Americans got in their hair to process their hair to loosen up their curl pattern, not necessarily to be straight, but more of a wavy, more of that finger wave type look. They kept their hair pretty long, things of that nature. So you had that style. And on the other side, you had a period of time where you had pompadours and things of that nature, right? And there was a huge push for all of that. And then there started to be this during the pompadour phase, You had the pompadour phase, and then it went to this natural phase where there was afros and there was long hair, and you know, you either had a big afro or you look like Jesus, right? While the GI cut, that bald fade always kind of stayed consistent. Um, it grew from maybe the pompadour to like the side part comb over style. A lot of these styles have been traditional, right? But there were heights in these times where the pompadour had the society and the at least the American society in a chokehold for 10, 15 years maybe, right? And then you had the afro, and the afro and the natural hair or the long uh Jesus like hair. That was a period of time during your uh your late 60s, early 70s, even into the 80s, early 80s, that afro was still a thing. And then we went back into we went back into the process phase, right? So it was the curly perm or the jerry curl, right? So you had the curly perm on one side and you had the relaxer for on the other side. You had that for a minute. It was the bigger the hair, the better. Blah 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 blah. So on and so forth. And so, what am I saying about the art of the hair? Okay, there's always these periods of time where there's a natural period where hair isn't so processed and things of that nature, but the artistic level has always been there, right? And with the artistic level always being there, it's always, like I said, it's always kind of been this thing, chugging along, chugging along, chugging along. Now in 2024, you can look right now on any social media platform that you're on, and I will say it'll probably be, you could spend maybe 5-10 minutes on there, or if you're going through the search bar of like not Instagram, or let's say TikTok or Snapchat, like you're going to see something about a haircut. And what does that do for the industry? It's a good thing. I'm going to tell you, it's a great thing, right? And I won't just say that. I will say for my personal algorithms on those platforms, they're tailored to what I look at. But I know for um, my oldest son, for my wife, they don't look at haircut videos. I don't I don't share haircut videos with them. Um, and in their algorithm, they're seeing the same things, right? They're seeing the same things. And what does that mean for the art? What you're seeing in the popular videos that you're seeing are the styles that are coming into the shop. Okay. And while some people may think, and this is just me, art is art. There's perspectives on art, right? There's high end, there's low end, there's perspectives on art. That's one thing. But what you have to understand about art, and this is the art of hair, the foundational rules apply all of the time. The foundational rules apply in haircutting all the time. So you can be what I will say a lower end artist in this industry, but your foundational work should not change, right? And the people that are considered higher end in this industry have very, very, very strong foundational work. They understand how hair works. They understand how hair moves. They understand how to style hair, how to cut the hair in a uniform way. Right. Yes, every canvas is different. Not gonna disagree with you there. Not gonna disagree with you there. But the foundational moves that you make on each foundation does not change. Are we clear? Foundational stuff does not change, right? The symmetry of a hairline, if you're doing a hairline, doesn't change. It should not change. The symmetry in the way that you do a beard should not change, right? That's foundational. That's basic stuff. That's basic stuff. Okay. And I'm going to tell you guys, the more you focus on the foundational stuff, the better your haircuts are going to be. The more you're going to improve in this art form. The faster you're going to get. Because you do understand, like, if you're getting faster, like, don't be so fast that you make careless mistakes. You make careless mistakes by not paying attention to the foundational moves, but honestly, by being greedy. So you make foundational mistakes by being greedy. Point blank, period. Greedy. Oh, I don't have time to do this. No, you do. You do. Stop looking around the room, comparing yourselves to other barbers who may be cutting faster than you, or, oh, they just cut ahead, so I need. No, take your time. Take your time and do it right. Do it right multiple times. And I bet, and I guarantee you that the next time you do it, it'll be easier. The next time that you do it, it will be easier. And the next time it'll get easier, and the next time it'll get easier, and the next time it'll get easier. You know, you have to look at this like this art form is an art form that comes with rules, right? So if you look at and what we initially talked about and talking about art and artists and things like that, if you look at it, right, painting, that type of art is somewhat different. In barbering, there are rules that apply in cutting hair that are universal and do not change. They may change the way that based on they don't change just based on head shape. Right? You still have to do the same process. Now your starting and ending points may be different based on the head shape, but the rule still applies. You know, if you think about it like sports players, right? Let's use the NFL for example. Okay. Or yeah, let's use the NFL for example. every player that goes out on the field plays the game based on the same rule book. They play the game based on the same rule book. Now, barring physical attributes, and even still, someone who has physical attributes that make them great. If they don't have the work and the foundation behind them, you can have all the physical attributes in the world. It doesn't make you the best if you're not willing to put in the work to understand the foundational things, the basic rules, the advanced rules. They're still all there. Because you don't follow or pay attention to them doesn't mean they don't exist. Right? I had a conversation with somebody one time, and we were talking about laws and rules, and they were saying to me, they said, I asked them a question. I said, hasn't this always been a rule? They said, yeah, but nobody enforces it. And I said, okay. But does that change the fact that it's a rule? They said, well, no, it's still a rule, but nobody enforces it. I said, but we're not talking about whether the rule is enforced or not. Does it still make it a rule? Is it still a rule? Yes. I said, oh, okay. So what are we talking about here? And I ended the conversation with them by saying this, and this was my kind of sort of my trump card. Take it for what it may. I said, when I get on the highway, speed limit says 70 miles an hour. But I got somewhere to be, so I do 80. I'm doing 80, a little slow. Doing 85, I'm trying to keep up with the flow of traffic. Everybody else is doing about the same speed limit I'm doing, so, I look slow for moving slower. Okay. So if the cop pulls out, flips on his lights, pulls me over, I say to them, I said, now, I've been doing 80 for 30 minutes. Nobody did anything about it while I was doing it. Actually, everybody else was doing it too. I can't say anything to the cop because he's going to say, did you know how fast you were going? I'm going to tell the truth. Yeah. Do you know what the speed limit is? Yeah. So boom, I got to take responsibility for it. And it's the same way for me in understanding and cutting hair. The rules still apply. What the most difficult thing for me is that I didn't understand, know, or learn all the rules in the beginning. So I had to teach myself the rules over time. And some of you may have to teach yourself the rules over time, or go to a class, or watch a video, or something of that nature to learn these rules. You just may have to. Right? And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with learning the rules. It's actually more beneficial. I say I dare to say, when you learn the rules and the way that things go, you can combine them to find the gray areas. Well, if I leave this alone, can I do this to still make this happen? Maybe you can. Maybe you can't. But you can only know that by knowing the rules. Right? So guys, if you're struggling, go back and learn, go back and look and learn and the foundational stuff. There's some good videos out there if you can't afford to go to get to a hands-on class. There's some good videos out there about foundational things, right? You need a foundation on the empire that you're trying to build. Your foundation is going to come through based on your knowledge of the rules. Barbering is an art, but it still has rules. Okay? Listen, guys, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Band of Barbers podcast. Please, please, please like, comment, share, and subscribe so we can grow the tribe. Also, guys, please, 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 I'm telling you, take time, look at the things you're struggling with, seek out, especially if it's just a certain hairstyle or something like that, seek out some of these online educators that are doing YouTube videos and things of that nature. Find their videos, look at them, and look at and study their foundational stuff, right? I believe that Sean Cuts Hair is good for foundational information. The YouTube Barber Academy is good for foundational information. Chris Basio is good for foundational education, and they're all good for foundational and advanced education. I'm just saying, they're all good. Even 360 GZ is good for some foundational education. Like, get with some of the listen. There are some guys out there, but I'm telling you, and that's not just because they're big names. I pay attention to the way that they're educating in their videos and teaching from the foundations of their cuts. They're showing you their systems and their foundations and the way that they're making things. They're showing it all to you. And guys, you need to really check it out, pay attention, and learn. Get that foundation in, build it up, then you can build on top of it, right? One of the classes that I took last year, the lady said during the class, and she said it over and over and over again. She said, "I'm not so concerned about the finished look of what we're doing today. What I want you to understand is the process and the way that things should be done, and learning those pieces." And that's it. Learn those pieces. Learn how it goes. Learn how it works. Right? Just getting by is not enough. Just getting by is not enough. Why would we struggle to survive when we can thrive? Thank you guys again. We'll catch you tomorrow. Have a good night.